It's interesting, like the idea of what artists do now with sketchbooks, or like they're making finished art in the sketchbooks. And it's like, well, that's not really a sketchbook. It's just a venue for making finished art. These sketchbooks here did not come until later, even into my professional career. So I did not have a sketchbook when I was a kid. All I did was draw. Like, it was just like, that my friends, like, draw me this or do this. And I was playing Dungeons and Dragons at the time, so I'd just be drawing characters, maps, any free time I had, even during classes. If I was in the back, sometimes I would draw in my binder. I was just a fan artist, hobbyist, I should say. That's a more appropriate name. Definitely a lot of influences, Mad Magazine, comics, movies. The really early sketchbooks weren't even ideas. So I don't know if you want to start there or, okay, yeah, well, yeah. So first of all, I've put a 4-leaf clover in every one of my sketchbooks, so you know they're mine. Not many people have 4-leaf clovers, so every one of these has a nice 4-leaf clover. Hard to duplicate. Yeah. A great way to tell it's one of my sketchbooks. I have like dozens of them. I find them everywhere. Well, it's actually about pattern recognition. This is really short. Relatively short. This is like within a year and a half of time, whereas some of these other ones are like 3 or 4 years. I slow down. But the early ones would be like 6 months. And the reason why is that the early sketches here are figure drawing. And I just bring them. So this fills easily, right? You do like 2-minute sketches, 2-minute, 5-minute sketches, 5-minute sketch. So they fill very quickly. I brought this one in because it's got like a half and half. But then ideas and thoughts, going to a museum, and then concepts for book covers. So this is where I've started using these to problem solve commercial commissions. So again, this sketchbook is approximately 10 years into my professional career. And so that's what these thumbnails, basically small, expressive, abstract, I call them abstracts. And then so basically when I formalize a compositional choice, then like that gets detailed, and then this gets sent off to the client, the publisher, whoever I'm working with for a project, to clarify my intent, because this is like, what the hell is that? And for me, it is a visual language that I have with myself about possibilities, whereas this now needs to be a visual language that I can communicate to another audience with over my intent. Turning back here, so this sketch here gets turned into this here, yeah.
I'm curious, how did you start your career, your professional career?
It goes way back to graduation from college or university, and having my artwork seen by a representative, an artist representative in New York City. And he worked with book publishers. He liked my work, and he was looking for new talent that could fit into the large commissions of science fiction and fantasy that he was now receiving. So being that I had some of that in my body of work, he was like, okay. But I wasn't good enough. I needed to work. I needed to develop my technical skill to achieve a professional level of expectations of delivery. And so within about 7 months after I met him, then after doing a bunch of samples, book cover samples, then I eventually landed. And then that once I got my first jobs, then that led to the next ones and next ones and next ones. Yeah, so that's what's great about this event here, is that it gives young artists, new artists, an opportunity to connect with established professionals, other people in the industry, and that generates opportunity. For me, I just needed that little foot in the door, so to speak, right? Just to pry it open. And that's what most people just need, is a chance, a little moment to exploit and to leverage for themselves. I could have been a totally different artist than what I evolved into. But I'm happy where I am. That's what I am. And I'm basically doing what I did as a kid, so I can't complain about that. And so these are, again, almost Almost any of these sketches that you would see here, again, little abstracts, and then for the client, are related to commercial commissions. I draw very little for myself. I just don't do it. I just don't have the time.
But what do you do when you're not working?
Well, actually, here's an example. Like, actually, this was one of the few things that this is for me. This is Lord of the Rings. This is the Fellowship in Moria. So this is one of those rare moments where I had some time to think, and many times my thoughts go to Lord of the Rings. And so the thing is, this never actually happened into a painting. It was just, playing with the ideas for myself. And then next page, life drawing, and then commercial commission. So basically these are, again, these are kind of little very quick time lapses of that moment, that 1 year of the different projects that I'd be undertaking, commercial commission, commercial, another book cover. It just never was a vehicle for idea generation for me outside of problem solving. So I guess that's what for me, a sketchbook becomes, it's a way to solve problems. This is a commercial project as well, portraits of Jesus Christ. If he was, actually like Middle Eastern, not, Caucasian, white, European looking.
I'm curious, you've always drawn this kind of paper?
In the late 90s, I was starting to go life drawing, and I was using white paper, and it, to be honest, it's shit. It's like, in terms of light, like right here, like you can see in these sketches here, like with just a few marks, I can indicate volume. So I have a dark line and a light shape. And again, I didn't invent this, right? This is, stuff like Tintoretto did, or Da Vinci, or Peter Paul Rubens. So these are, those are artists I would see, in the museums in New York when I would go to drawing, to see exhibitions on drawing. And it's like, why don't I use toned paper? Like, why the fuck am I trying to like render all the shadow and value when I can just like indicate it just like they did with white chalk? I never went back. I never touched a white sketchbook ever again.
You used to go to a lot of museums, but do you still go?
Oh, all the time. I was just at the Metropolitan Museum just this past Saturday. It's great. They're open late at night, so they're open till 9 o'clock. So all the tourists leave at 6 to go get dinner and all that. And then, you get the museum not to yourself, obviously there's still thousands of people, but it's not as crowded. Yeah, so it's really a nice time to go visit. So again, there's some more life drawing, just really just, the white chalk, again, very, like doing the buttocks. So certainly shading in a lot, but then just a few white highlights just gives volume very quickly. Without even really thinking about it by default, I was trying to emulate painting choices just by the way I would do draftsmanship choices here in the sketchbook. So this is actually for Age of Empires, so the video game. They were commissioning me to do some like a big epic battle scene moment. And so here I'm just concepting out. Then we're back to those character.
You're born and raised in New York?
No, I was born in Vermont. So I moved to New York City after graduating from the university.
But the fantasy, who are you, just pretty early? Right?
Oh, like always. It was like science fiction, fantasy, Star Wars, the movie. I was 10 years old when Star Wars came out. Aliens and Tron and then Dungeons and Dragons. And at the time as well, like I was heavily into comics. So I should have said, even though Vermont was devoid of what I would think of as culture, I was consuming comics. And that was my culture of choice anyway. Actually, I thought I'd be a comic book illustrator, not an oil painter like I am now. So yeah, that's that alternative path stuff. So we got book project, but I think I wanted to show you this because if I do a quick flip through here, where did the life draw? There's one life drawing, right? No life drawing. So this is all problem-solving commercial work projects. And so let's see, what's this date from here? We got 2017 to 21. So this is actually almost a 3.5 year span. So this is like one of the longer sketchbooks that it's taken me to finish.
Where do you work? How's your studio?
Oh, in Brooklyn? Yeah, I work in, I've been living in Brooklyn for 30 years. So it's as soon as I moved there, New York City, after college, I stayed. And I work on the top floor of our home. We bought a house, luckily, 4-story townhouse, but they're called brownstones in Brooklyn. Actually, the top floor was designed by a graphic artist who lived there in the 1970s. And so when my wife and I saw the house, it was like it was ready for an artist. It was like, oh, I can see myself living here.
When you travel, you don't draw anything, or
no?
It's not work. So
no, it's just I take a camera, I take photographs. So I have thousands and thousands and thousands of photographs. So I sketch with my camera. When I'm traveling, I'm not problem solving. I'm just experiencing the world and
get inspired.
Yeah. So I think if we wanted to talk about travel and inspiration. So I think specifically, if we go into this one here, I've got a landscape in here. Let me just find that somewhere in here. Here we go. This is actually one of the rare times that I didn't have an idea exactly what was going to happen, but seeing the landscapes of Iceland inspired me to make a new Lord of the Rings painting. Sometimes when I think of fantasies, it's like science fiction. A good fantasy has to be believable. So you have to be, the configuration of environmental structures, the makeup of a dragon, right? And when you get into the science of how and why it would fly and how big it would be, or when you make convincing choices over those, it's more like science fiction than fantasy, right? And so that's where I enjoy fantasy more. This natural landscape was fueling my mind of the beauty and the majesty of a mountain range. And then what if I put a little Gandalf down in the front and he's riding off to Minas Tirith? So again, it's not really about Gandalf, it's about the majesty of the environment and the beauty, and Hudson River School landscape painters. So I've seen those at the Metropolitan Museum of Art. So I get interested in making something like an emotional connection to that kind of work. This is one of my largest paintings. So this is 3 meters by 2 meters. Basically fills up the whole wall of one studio. Whereas this one is only 1 meter by 2/3 of a meter. So it's a much smaller book cover illustration. Here's my little abstracts. So I take this abstract here, and then this one turns into this piece here, and this one turned into this drawing here. So these then get shown to my client. They give me approval or modifications for the content. And then from here, I make a larger finished drawing, a finished piece, a full colored oil painting with references, models, all of that, gathering information from outside sources to make it realistic the way I paint. And then that is then digitally scanned, photographed, and my client never sees the painting. They see the digital file. This is a little drawing I did almost for my daughter as a Harry Potter, because I've never done any Harry Potter product rendering or anything. And so I just, if they wanted a drawing or something, what would I do? And this is a project that's going on right now. I've just finished up the painting for a private commission for that one.
So we have these sketchbooks, because
white. You got a crappy white.
Yeah, but you can.
Sorry.
You can take a page out of there and put it here. I don't know if you want.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay.
So these are the sketchbooks of the people we invited. Here.
Oh, invited. Okay, all right. So
yeah.
you want me to draw something in here?
Yeah, just draw.
Oh, okay. Here.
Any.
Okay, let me get. Luckily, I brought my red. This one's getting a little small.
So and then you keep all your sketchbooks. So you keep it in your studio or in your.
I have all of them except one. I was out having dinner with one of my good friends, and I left it at the restaurant. and basically someone stole it because all my sketchbook have my name in the front, and it's very easy to find me. So someone picked it up and decided not to return it. Yeah.
I would really like this.
Yeah, I know. It had a lot of good drawings in it. I think I had some Star Wars project that I was working on. Oh, wow, these are really quite... Oh, that's Greg Manches there.
Yeah.
Wow. Yep. Right.
There's some cool ones there.
Yeah, boy, jeez. Yeah, let's see. I haven't drawn a robot in a couple years, so let's see what comes out. I gotta watch this. Yeah. Did you see the probably the Battlestar Galactica, the new version?
The new one.
Yeah.
Oh,
no, but the Cylons, basically the robots in there were, basically humans. They're genetically, they're modified humans. And I always just joke. It's like, oh, that was a very smart budgetary choice because then you don't have to animate them. Yeah. So I like science, and it's a fun place to play with some foundation. But I also don't pretend like I'm drawing the future, because you almost can't. Like, how could you have drawn the internet, right? Back 40 years ago. Like, no one could have imagined what that is.
I'm curious about what you said earlier, the pattern.
Yeah, pattern recognition, for the four-leaf clovers.
Yeah.
Oh, here, I'll put speaking of four-leaf, I'll put it on the chest here. Yeah, that way you know it's mine.
When you take photographs, do you take photographs of what?
Things, textures, sometimes objects, visual effects. Sometimes like sunlight, patterns, shadows. I just feel like, oh, this is something I want to remember. Obviously, like if I sketched it, I could remember, like sketching, going through the process of drawing is a way to embed memory, right? Reinforce emotional conditioning. But like if you're trying to draw a sunset, like it takes you 10 minutes, 15, or paint it, and you could be experiencing, half a dozen other things in that moment. So that's why I like a camera, because I can capture many more fleeting moments.
What is that?
Little Earth. I don't know. I'm trying to create the humanity of the near human qualities, especially since, artistically, the robots are coming for all of our jobs. If I can find them, I'll keep adding detail. So it never stops. It never do I put reflections in here? Do I get a little, you saw I'm starting to shade, right? So I didn't do any shading until right near the end. I realized, oh my God, I can start to do that. And then it starts getting to another level. So it just keeps going on and on. So here, I'll sign it here. And what's we got? 2022 here, right? There.
Okay, so last thing, I'll ask you just to sign on that square.
In here?
Yeah.
Oh, wherever.
Yeah, wherever.
Oh, okay.
You want,
yeah.
That's it. Okay. Thank you.